The Fall of Constantinople, 1453. The day an empire died for over 1,000 years, Constantinople stood as the glittering jewel of the Eastern Roman Empire, a city of soaring domes, impenetrable walls, and unmatched legacy. It was the last breath of Rome, holding out while the kingdoms rose and fell around it. But in 1453, its fate was sealed. The man who would bring down this ancient empire was Mehmed II, a 21-year-old Ottoman sultan with a vision as vast as his ambition. He wanted to reshape the world, and Constantinople, known as the Queen of Cities, stood in his way. To him, it wasn't just a city, it was a symbol. Conquering it would not only give him control of East and West, it would make him a legend. Inside the city, Emperor Constantine XI rallied his people. The once mighty Byzantine Empire had shrunk to a shadow of its former self, with little land, few soldiers, and little hope. But what they lacked in strength, they made up for in courage. Defenders from across Europe had joined them, Greeks, Italians, and even a few brave mercenaries, all united by faith and fate. Mehmed gathered an army of over 80,000 men. Artillery was brought in, most notably a monstrous cannon known as the basilica, capable of firing stone balls weighing over half a ton. For weeks, the Ottomans bombarded the city's ancient Theodosian walls, which had stood for centuries. Day and night, thunder echoed through the city as stone clashed against stone. The people of Constantinople clung to legends of divine protection. It was said the city would never fall while its great walls stood, and that an angel would descend to defend it in its darkest hour. But faith, while powerful, was no match for Mehmed's planning and firepower. Every explosion cracked stone and hope alike, shaking the foundations of both the city and its people. Inside Hagia Sophia, priests held continuous liturgies, and families sought refuge beneath its vast dome. The emperor walked among his people, not as a distant ruler, but as a man preparing to share in their fate. He encouraged them not with promises of victory, but with calls for dignity, bravery, and the preservation of their legacy, no matter the outcome. What made the siege even more bitter was the silence from the West. Despite pleas for aid, few responded. Rome was distant, and the schism between Eastern and Western Christianity had not yet healed. Though some Italians and Venetians came to fight, many Western rulers remained preoccupied with their own struggles. The Byzantines were, in the eyes of many, a fading light too dim to save. But the defenders had one hope, the Golden Horn, a natural harbor protected by a massive chain stretched across the water. As long as it remained closed, the Ottomans couldn't bring their ships in. Mehmed, however, had other plans. In one of history's most daring moves, he ordered ships dragged overland on greased logs, bypassing the chain completely. When the people of Constantinople awoke to find enemy ships behind their walls, the psychological blow was devastating. As the siege wore on, desperation grew. The Byzantines fought with fierce determination, but food ran low, reinforcements never came, and cracks spread across both walls and morale. On May 29th, 1453, before dawn, Mehmed launched his final assault. Waves of troops crashed against the battered walls. The first were repelled, the second too, but the third, elite janissaries, found a breach. A small gate left open in the chaos became the city's undoing. Fighting erupted in the streets. Emperor Constantine is said to have removed his imperial garments and charged into the fray, never to be seen again. As Ottoman flags rose over the city, 1,000 years of Roman legacy came to a violent, thunderous end. Mehmed entered Hagia Sophia and declared it a mosque. The city, once Christian Constantinople, was now Islamic Istanbul. The world had changed. Europe shuddered at the fall, the Renaissance accelerated, trade routes shifted, and the Ottoman Empire would now dominate for centuries. In the West, the fall of Constantinople sparked both fear and opportunity. Many Greek scholars fled the city, carrying precious manuscripts and ancient knowledge with them. They would ignite the fires of learning in Italy, helping fuel the Renaissance and changing the course of the European thought forever. Meanwhile, the Ottomans cemented their position as a global power. Istanbul became the heart of their empire, a center of art, science, religion, and trade. What had once been the endpoint of an empire was now the beginning of another. The fall wasn't just a battle or a conquest, it was a shift in the balance of power, a moment that signaled the end of the medieval world and the rise of something new. Constantinople fell, but history surged forward, carrying its legacy with it. The fall of Constantinople wasn't just the end of an empire, it was the start of a new world.